Been around for years, but it's just kind of taken off about maybe 2 years ago, and there's people who are like living off blogging now and through advertisement and stuff, and I think it's like a new job that people aren't so much aware of at the moment, but I think it's just getting bigger and bigger and more people are getting noticed, and I think a lot of bigger companies are cottoning on to the fact that there is an audience out there that will listen to every word of their like favourite blogger. So yeah, definitely for me, it's definitely worth blogging, because at the end of the day, you've got to be passionate about it, because there's no point starting a blog just to get followers or get noticed by brands, because it just doesn't happen, and people can tell that you're just doing it for the money or whatever, that you've got to be interested in writing. I always think that it's more interesting the more individual it is.
In 1983, when we opened, my ex-business partner and myself saw that there was a gap in the market in Nottingham for this sort of thing, because it was quite prevalent in London and other big towns, but nobody at that point had taken the bull by the horns and opened a big, what was called second-hand clothing store in Nottingham at that time, so we thought we'll go for it. My ex-business partner and myself, when we started this, or when we had the idea that one day we wanted to go into business together, we were both working for Paul Smith at the time, and we just decided that we would open our own shop one day. And we thought it was going to be a Paul Smith type shop in a different town in England. And having done our research, we just decided that it would cost too much to do that. And around about that time, in the late 1970s, there was a big scene building up in London and in other big towns, where what was then called second-hand American clothing was becoming really popular. And the reason that it was second-hand American was that because that was the biggest place, the biggest supply centre was the States, because there were just so many people getting rid of old clothes that they had tons and tons of it. So all second-hand clothing used to come from the States, basically, in quantity. So we just decided that because nobody was doing it in Nottingham, and Nottingham was a really good town for fashion and for clothing, that we'd pioneer it. It had always been my dream to have another shop in Nottingham, because we've always had this problem of getting people to come down into Hockley from the city centre, which is only a stone's throw anyway, but there's always been a barrier to getting people down here, which in some ways is good because it makes the area exclusive, but in other ways is bad because not enough people come down here to sustain business. So I'd always thought if I had one in the city centre, I'd do really well, because I've always known that what we sell is more popular than just to the people that come down here. You know, there are more people out there who I could sell to. So I opened the shop on Market Street thinking it would, you know, do really well, but unfortunately it didn't do any better than this shop. It was probably the best thing that I've ever done, because I'd wanted to do it for so long, and if I hadn't have done it, I'd still be wanting to do it now. And having moved on 10 years from when we first opened that shop, if I tried to do it now, it would probably be even worse, I would imagine, because of the economic climate. Nottingham's got Hockley, which is the sort of place that if I went to a town, I'd seek out myself, because not everybody wants to go to shopping centres, and because it's still relatively cheap down here compared with the city centre, it gives people the opportunity to try businesses that they wouldn't be able to do in the city centre. It's been the best thing that I've ever done, because it's become my life. If I hadn't gone into business with my ex-partner at the time that I did, I probably would still be working in a 9-to-5 job, which I hated, but I love doing what I do, so I'm really happy that I did it. Yeah, it was definitely worth me opening my own vintage store, without a doubt.
Thank you.